Hello everyone, this is Chime and welcome to the listening party for the brand new EP by sxth, Watercolors. So if you've been following Rushdown for a while, you might be aware of sxth through their releases with us. We had Prismatic on New Colors, which volume was it? Volume 2, and Molecular on Colorbase Volume 2. They're actually their debut releases, like those are the only tunes out right now. And we're finally here with a brand new full-length EP from this producer. I'm excited to get into it. So let's start right from the beginning. This is the intro track to Watercolors EP. This is Awake by sxth. There's the incredibly enigmatic intro tune called Awake. And before we get into, the first full track, I just want to mention, in case anyone listening doesn't know, this guy is 14 years old. Producers are definitely getting younger and younger and picking up things at an incredible speed now. But man, when I was 14, I was messing around on GarageBand, throwing loops together and not understanding any basic fundamentals about music. And here we've got a producer that's already had DJ support from Virtual Riot. I find it incredibly inspiring, and I hope it's inspiring to a lot of you younger producers out there as well. But let's get into the first full track of the EP. This is Distracted. All right, that was Distracted by Sixth Sense. So you can probably tell just from the intro in this first track that this EP is very different to the sort of thing we usually put out at Rushdown, but I feel it's completely on brand for us at the same time. It's a weird mix, right? Sixth Sense style really plays on minimalism in a very interesting way, and you're already hearing some of their very watery signature sort of bass and sound design. It's super interesting, and I'm very interested to hear and experience how this kind of music would play live, because I think there's kind of a shock factor to it, especially if, I was to transition out of a full impact, high energy tune into one of these. It would be very fascinating to see how people would react. I love how there's a lot of, the usual color bass style sound design, but it's in a completely different package here. There really isn't anyone capturing that minimal yet still crispy and very kind of watery kind of sound, as well as Sixth Sense at the moment. And that's what we really, really love to see. And I suppose here at Rushdown is artists exploring the world of color bass in very much their own way. I think it's great, and I think Sixth Sense is a perfect example of that kind of philosophy. So let's move on to the next track. This is a collaboration with Zirconova. Yeah, this is definitely a much more chill tune coming up. A lot of very interesting textures and quite different to Zirconova's other release they had on the most recent New Colors compilation, but it's an absolute treat. Let's get into it. That was Cascade by Sixth Sense and Zirconova. Really crazy sort of ambient / color based tune, and another combination of styles that I really, really enjoy. I really like on the first, I guess you could call it drop, just the use of that constant rising pluck and just allowing all the other textures in there to keep things interesting. I love being able to foster support for this kind of music as well, where it's sitting on the edge of bass music. There's still definitely ties to bass music in the form of the sound design and that sort of thing, but it's very much in a different world, energy-wise, But anyway, let's get into the next track. This is Luminescent by Sixth Sense. Luminescent by Sixth Sense, and this is definitely where the EP picks up in terms of energy levels. We got a much faster tempo, we've got some crazy use of distortion. I've never really heard anything like that final drop there, where it feels completely overpowered, but everything's still contained and still very tonal as well, and I think that's quite difficult to pull off. This is definitely one I see working quite well at shows out of the EP tracks, but it still maintains that Sixth Sense flavor, and it still feels very much a part of the collection of tracks we have here on this EP. So with that, let's get on to the final track of the EP, and it is the title track. This is Watercolors by Sixth Sense. There we go, the final and the title track from Watercolors EP from Sixth Sense. And I think Watercolors is the perfect name for this debut EP by Sixth Sense, because water is obviously a big influence on their sound design, and obviously we are all about colors and vibrant sounds on Rushdown, so it's just a perfect marriage of those two elements. And on this final track especially, it really does sound like you are listening to what I guess watercolor paint sounds like. It's difficult to describe really, but if you had to think about how watercolors visually would translate into audio, it really would be these kind of ripply, soft, melodic textures representing the sort of soft colors in there. It's just a synesthetic dream, honestly. But yeah, I really hope you've enjoyed this EP from Sixth Sense. It's out now everywhere. Go head over to the fan link. You can stream and download it all over the place. I hope this is a real treat for you home listening fans at Rushdown who need some softer tracks for your collection that would be suitable for concentration or study and that sort of thing. I think this EP would be great for that, but also I'm dying to try these tracks out live and just see what the hell an audience would do. Thank you very much for joining us. Big thanks and shout out to Sixth Sense for providing this EP for us to release. We are very excited to be putting it out as their debut EP. If you want some more Sixth Sense tunes, we also have Molecular and Prismatic. You can find those on Spotify and all those good places. And yeah, thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next listening party. Bye.